Monday and Tuesday.
People Talk.
KYRS Medical Lake Spokane, 88.1 and 92.3 FM. Welcome to the latest edition of People Talk, starring your host, Chris R. And today I have a guest, and their name is, they have two names. They have a given name, and they have a stage name, right? And they are local hip-hop artists. They got a show coming up this Thursday at the Dipper, right? So, I want you guys to get familiar with Keze, a.k.a. Zeke.
I'm just glad to be on here, man.
Here, say that one more time. Your mic was just a little too low.
Oh, no. My name is Keze, a.k.a. Zeke. I'm a local hip-hop artist, rapper. Dropped a tape this year, Nightlife. Go stream that. Yeah. We here, baby. Let's go.
Right on. Well, I appreciate you joining me tonight. So I want to kind of fill in like the audience tonight on like what exactly you're in store for us. So
yeah, for sure.
We're going to talk a little bit about, hip hop. We're going to talk a little bit about how you kind of fell into that.
Yeah.
And your kind of journey and story with that, right? But then we've also got a little kind of, it's like a sort of a double-edged sword or a two sides of the coin kind of night, right? We both worked in like thrift stores,
yes,
for a while.
Yeah.
And we both got some stories, and I'd love to talk about one, maybe some of our stories, good, bad, and ugly, right? That we were involved in, like whatever we were doing and what we were doing in those thrift stores, and all the work that goes into, the crap that you guys buy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I buy as well. I love it. I love thrift stores still. Once you work at one, you're sort of always hooked, right?
Yeah, no.
You can't not walk into one and start looking.
It's like
right?
in your blood at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you've got a better eye, after all the years of like training your eye, right?
Yeah.
What's good, what's bad, what's whatever. But right on. So I'm going to have you kind of talk about, let's talk about what track you've chosen. Let's talk a little bit about, like your newest album.
Yeah.
And then we'll play a little track, and then we will talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. So the track I chose, I had been working on since about 2021. I recorded it with my buddy Jay Lynn. Shout out Jay Lynn. It's the second track off of my mixtape Nightlife, which released February 16th this year.
Right on. Which I've listened to and which I really liked. I've got quite a few of them saved actually on Spotify. But
nice, thank you. I appreciate that, man.
When it was launched, I was digging it.
That's what I like to hear, man. Shout out Jalen. I got a music video for it on my YouTube, so I'll be sure to plug that later on, I guess. But
for sure.
Yeah, no, it's just a song I've worked on for a really long time. Finally released it this year. Excited it's out, for sure.
Heck yeah, well, let's give it a listen.
Yeah, for sure.
No profanity, right?
Oh, there's profanity in it. There's all sorts of profanity in it. Yeah. That's chill.
But what we can do is, where can they find it? Again, where can they find it? Sorry, if there's profanity, we can get in trouble.
That's okay. I completely understand. So it is available on every single streaming service, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, all whole 9 yards. It's Nightlife.
You got any tracks that are instrumental or anything that's like
no.
Give us just a flavor of what the tracks sound
Unfortunately,
like?
I am a rapper, so I do say.
And I am not pro censorship, my dude. So you do you and express yourself, but I can't do that on the air.
Don't even stress.
No
bro.
worries. So instead of us listening to the track, walk us through what that track was, right? Like what made you choose it?
So I chose it mainly because my whole career so far, I've mainly just been, releasing kind of these like concept-driven songs, I guess. This Nightlife tape that I released this year has mainly just been, kind of like a fun project. I've always wanted to do something kind of just, you can just throw on whenever, have a good time with it. And I think there's a real art to that, art to like making, your brain feel good and make you want to dance or, do whatever you want to do.
Well, there's so many different ways to be able to do that, right?
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
people that like to evoke sadness, anger, all that stuff, man. The feels of like romance, right? And you're trying to have more of like a feel good kind of vibe, right? Like kind of party music, right?
Yeah. No, that's kind of what the purpose of this tape was, kind of just give people like more of like a straightforward hip hop / whatever album / tape, whatever you want to call it. Names don't mean anything. That's plus, it's got a great feature from my friend Jay Lynn. I've known him since I was like 14. He's like one of my best buddies. So I'm just glad that, I could give him, a little bit of airtime as well.
Does he help out with a lot of the tracks, like a lot of the beats and stuff? Or
no, he doesn't really help out with a lot of the tracks. He's just, kind of someone that I can turn to when I've got like a creative idea or like a creative roadblock, essentially. Cool. And I can just be like, hey, what do you think about this? And he can be like, this is either good or bad, So
right on.
Yeah, no. Shout out Jay Lynn.
Kind of like a muse coach kind of thing.
Yeah.
Someone you can throw ideas at and they can really kind of help you sell it, right? Or talk you down.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes too far.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right on.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing this for? How long have you been working on or how long have you been an artist, right? Or a musician?
So realistically, I've been an artist probably since 2020-ish. I released my first quote unquote real project that year, Mobius. And I kind of just, started working on a project here, a project there. One thing about me is that I'm always trying to work on like a body of work. Other people are very single centric, which is, there's nothing bad about that. But I like when there's just like a collection of songs in front of you. It's kind of like a soup, like a really good looking soup and you just want to eat it, and,
but you eat it in different bites.
Yeah.
And bites that all kind of coincide to the next.
Yes. Right? Yes, exactly. So yeah, realistically, probably since about 2020. In fact, I think I released Mobius the day that lockdown happened.
Really? I vaguely remember that. I do remember. One of your albums did drop, right?
Yeah. It was the Sonic the Hedgehog one.
How was that, though, the reception for something like that during lockdown? Because a lot of people were glued to, phones, social media, TV, what have you, right? Radio. And,
yeah.
Did you get a good response?
I mean, for the most part, I got a pretty good response. I hadn't done anything prior to that, so realistically, I was just following everybody on Instagram that I could and, sharing my project with them. And it stuck to a decent degree. There was a few diehard fans in there. And it eventually landed me my first concert gig back in 2021. And it was okay. I mean, it wasn't the best in the world, but I was pretty proud at the time for sure.
Well, obviously it motivated you to continue, right?
Yeah.
You're here today, man, 4 years later.
Yeah. Now I've got 2 projects finished since then, one on the way hopefully at the end of this year. So
I saw that you were a featured artist for the show coming up.
Yes,
which is pretty flattering, right? I mean, it's kind of a big deal.
It is kind of a big deal, especially since it's the Big Dipper. I've got people telling me like, oh yeah, it's the Big Dipper that's been around forever. I remember going to that when I was a kid back in like the 90s and stuff. Oh, and it's just like, wow, it's awesome.
Definitely,
it really is.
Like a local haunt in a good way, right?
Yes.
For downtown music and local music, right?
Yeah,
for
exactly.
a long time, and it's gone through a lot of different hands with people who've managed it, owned it, and whatnot. And I'm glad to see that it's still alive and kicking, man.
Yeah, I think the current owners are doing a great job running it. So I've been to a few shows.
I've seen a ton of shows on a lot of bills all over town.
Yeah,
so many different shows, man. Lots of different genres. So I'm a metalhead guy. I love metal. I love lots of punk rock and stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I love indie stuff, but I grew up a lot, and I love hip hop and I love like rap music in general. Just that's stuff I grew up with.
Yeah.
Not to date myself, but I grew up in like the 90s, right? So
oh yeah,
I'm a 90s kid, man. So the golden age of a lot of rap, right?
That really is that. Yeah,
specifically like gangster rap and stuff like that.
Like
Tupac, Notorious B.I.G.,
Mobb Deep,
Wu-Tang, Mobb Deep, all that stuff, and that was a huge part of life, and there was kind of no way to escape it. So
yeah, for sure,
especially with that whole East Coast West Coast thing for a long time. We're not going to get into that tonight. That's probably a full episode we could get into.
You probably could do something with that.
R.I.P. Tupac, R.I.P. Notorious B.I.G.
Yeah, no, for real.
Big shout out to Tupac.
Yeah.
One of my favorites, right, from back in the day. But who are some of your influences?
I mean, honestly, I take inspiration from anything that I can get my hands on. Really, one name that really pops out into like the top of my mind is Tyler, the Creator. He was kind of like one of the first rappers when I was a teenager that I kind of like obsessed over. Like, you know, obviously he did like the horrorcore stuff in the early 2010s, but like, you know, middle of the 2010s, he kind of started releasing more like sweet, I guess, if that makes any sense, sweeter sounding music. And
his stuff was always so avant-garde, right? So
it really was
off the cuff. I mean, he's definitely got his own kind of thing going, which I actually really like. Tyler, the Creator.
Yeah, no, he's super good, super awesome.
There's a song called "She" or something like that.
"She" with Frank Ocean.
Yeah, I love that song.
That's one of the tracks off of Goblin. Yeah, that's like 2011, I think.
God, that was a long time ago. I hate to say that.
I was 11. Yeah.
2011.
It's kind of crazy to think about.
I don't want to know. I don't even want to do the math. I don't remember how old I was. Old enough.
Hey, like I'm saying, 20 forever. You know what I mean?
There you go. Man.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Tyler, the Creator, one of the first rappers that I dug as a kid was, and I'm going to say this with the quotation, unfortunately, Kanye West.
Yeah, we've seen a lot happen to him, and let's just say, I'd like to think of it as a lot of it has to do with mental health issues. You know,
I think you're right. I think a lot of it definitely has to deal with that. It's really unfortunate because he made probably some of my favorite hip hop albums ever. You know, I think he was the first rapper. He was one of the first people I listened to in terms of rap music as a whole. Like, I think I was like 8 when I first started listening to him, which is kind of a crazy age to start listening to hip hop, but you know, whatevs.
One of the cool, like, I mean, you know what, you know, it is what it is, man.
Yeah,
we're all
for
turned
sure.
on to different things. Hold on, it looks like we have a caller, so let's pause
Hey.
real quick, and let me see if we can take this call. Oh, just 1 second, listeners.
Yeah.
KYRS, this is Chris. KYRS, John. This is People Talk. Yes, you are. Would you like to go on the air right now? Great. 1 second. Caller, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Just 1 second. Let me make sure that you're on the air with us right now. Can you hear him in your...
Yeah, I could hear
hear?
what he was a little bit. I heard the yes I am.
Hey,
Caller, are you there?
hey, Keze, what's up?
Here we go. We got a caller. Who do we got here?
It's hey, I'm Luke. I also go by Scrapper.
Oh, right on.
Hey,
Welcome,
what's
Luke.
up, man?
Welcome to People Talk, man.
This is actually my first time calling into a radio show.
Oh, right on, man. Well, let's not make it your last, right?
Yeah, for sure.
We'll be gentle, though. We'll
Yeah.
be gentle for your first time.
Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Hey, no worries. What'd you want to talk about?
So, Keze said he had, or y'all wanted to hear some thrifting stories.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, we can get that ball rolling too.
Let's get it rolling.
Yeah.
Let's get it rolling. We'll pause on Yee.
Pause on yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
pause on Yee.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, right on, man. Why don't you share a story?
Okay, so it was probably back in like 2018, 2019. No, definitely 2018. So I was pretty broke, and I went to this one thrift shop, and there was this really cool denim jacket, and it was like a really long, like not quite trench coat, but think like ski jacket almost.
Okay.
Whoa.
And it was like some like really old school looking. It mixed with like a cowboy like sewing pattern almost, you know, like the.
This sounds pretty rad.
No, it was really cool, and it was $15, and I only had $10 on me, and so I had my guitar in the car, so I went to the side of the road and not side of the road, but I just like went on the sidewalk and like street performed for a few hours, and I got the $5 and I got the jacket, and I
Sick.
still
That's
have
awesome,
it to this
man.
day.
Do you still rock it a lot?
You know, I just unpacked it out of storage, but we just moved into a new place, so
Sick.
I'm rocking a lot of old fits.
Heck yeah.
I'm loving this, man. The sheer determination.
No,
alone,
that's
right now.
awesome.
This is what we call a true American success story.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
He wanted something, right? And he couldn't get it, right? But then he knew what he had to do to get it.
He got the motivation.
The motivation.
Yes.
And I am impressed.
I had to make it happen.
I'm impressed, man. I love that. And I love that you still have it, because things like that you got to hold on to, man.
Yeah.
No,
For sure.
exactly.
Next time you're feeling low, next time you're feeling like, man, I don't know if I can get through this. Throw that jacket on.
Think about that jacket.
No,
wear
wear that jacket.
Yeah.
Wear it. Wear it to the
I
interview.
will.
Wear it to wherever you
I
got
might I might only have to wear the jacket because, like I said, it's got like wool and it's really heavy and it's like 103 out. But
Yeah, don't
I
wear it
could
right
rock
now.
Only the jacket.
Give it a couple.
Yeah, I would say give it a couple more months and then you're balling.
Give it a couple more months, or if you're needing to feel inspired in your living room with the AC cranked up, throw that puppy on, just sit in a comfy chair and contemplate.
Yeah, you just got to make yourself look cool, you know.
Exactly. No, I'll put the jacket in the freezer so that way when I take it out,
okay.
it's cold. On.
That makes sense.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, hey.
I'll only be able to wear it for a few minutes, but you know.
Yeah.
Hey, man, a few minutes of glory, though. How long did it take you to get that extra money? How long did you have to play some songs for and busk for?
I'm not gonna lie, like 2 or 3 hours. I wasn't that good back then.
Right on, dude. That's like I said, man. That's
determination.
That's determination. And
Yeah.
like you said, another word, motivation.
Yes.
You didn't give up.
Exactly.
So what's the moral of this story, listeners? Don't give up.
Yes.
I like that. That goes with what you're doing right
Exactly.
now for music. That goes, and you said Luke, right?
Yeah.
That goes for what Luke wanting something at the thrift store, right? That he felt like it was not attainable, but then he made it happen.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, that's my boy Scrapper, actually. Shout out Scrapper. He's had me on a few shows. I really appreciate him. He's dope.
Rad. Hey, I appreciate you calling in, man. What were you
No,
gonna say?
thank you guys for having me.
Yeah,
of
for
course,
sure, bro.
man. Feel free to tune in, man. Mondays 8 to 9, People Talk, and I'm always having random guests and lots of different topics, man. But a lot of it has to do with a lot of local stuff, local topics, artists, etc. So tune back in, man. Let's not make this your last call.
Well, sweet. I'm guaranteed I will.
Right on, man. Take care, brother.
See you later, bro.
Hey, have a good one, guys.
You too. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
So, going back to Yee, also shout out to our first caller of the night. I'm very happy about that.
Yeah,
thank you
shout out
guys.
Scrapper,
Thank
bro.
you, Luke, man. I really appreciate that. Like, also that was a really good story. Like,
Yeah.
who's had that kind of determination for the most part?
I don't know a lot of people with that kind of determination, you know.
No, I mean, usually you just pop the tag and you're like,
Yeah.
hey, how much? And they're like, $5.99,
Listen.
man. I'm like, right on. I got 10.
I don't endorse this, but sometimes, bro.
Look, man, I know, and we won't get into it yet. We were going to get into the Macklemore stuff probably a little bit later. And
Oh
how
goodness
he
gracious.
sort of screwed up the whole thrift
Yeah.
sort of scene, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Put a lot of eyes on it when that was a pretty good market for a lot of individuals right before it was so well known. And let's be
Washed
real,
out.
vintage and thrifting has been, really booming over the last 5 years. What would you say? Like 5 years at least? Like pretty
I would
strong?
say, yeah, probably like the last 5 or 6 years, honestly.
And it's gotten crazy because I remember when I would take my money, right, from like student loans from community college.
Yeah.
I go to the Value Village when I lived in Bellingham. And then I would go and buy like the sickest, like all these band tees, all
Yeah.
these vintage tees, and they were like $1.99.
You could find some awesome stuff there for sure.
Like it was so sick. And like, now those shirts are like $300, dude.
It's really unfortunate because, as someone who was kind of raised up on thrift stores, I wouldn't say that I was like poor or nothing, but we went there to get the cheap stuff, and I pretty much wore all the cheap stuff when I was a kid, and I'm not complaining or nothing, but that's just how it was. So, as someone who pretty much was raised inside of a thrift store, seeing all of these t-shirts that I could have probably gotten from Hot Topic for $20 5 years ago be in a vintage shop for $250. I don't know about that.
Pretty insane.
It's pretty insane.
For me, as a kid, my parents would never let me go to the thrift store. They'd be like, why do you want to go buy used stuff? Always buy new. And so when I was like 17, 18 years old and I was going to school and I had my own money finally, and I was like, okay, cool. I was working a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, I can go and I can buy whatever I want.
Exactly.
And that's when I fell in love with the magic of thrift stores, how much I could get, how much bang for my buck.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would find things that I never thought I would ever find. Tour shirts from, the 80s, 90s and stuff. There was one, I forget which band it was, but it was like a Pope moshing on it.
Oh.
And I remember I told my friend at the time, Jason, I was like, look, man, I got too many shirts. You can have that one. But I knew it was like the sludge band from the 90s.
That's awesome.
But then he looked it up on Google and it was like $500. And I was
my gosh.
Maybe I kind of want that back.
See, that's how I was. I found
I still let him have it, by the way.
Oh, you're so nice.
Yeah, I had to.
That's how I was. I found a Korn tour shirt from their first album.
Sick.
Yeah, and I kept that for a really long time, and then I just handed it to my buddy when I gained a few pounds, and I think that shirt's worth like $200.
Couple bucks now.
Yeah.
I remember my mom brought one home. She worked at a department store, and we got to take a quick break. But finishing my thought, she worked at a department store. She brought me right when the Korn's first album came out. She knew I was into Korn and new metal.
Yeah.
She brought that home. That shirt was so sick. I wore it till there was holes in it, and now that shirt's like a couple $100 on
Heck
eBay.
yeah.
But it's sad to see that my childhood is worth so much now. All right, so just 1 second, guys. We got to do a quick break, and we'll be right back.
See ya.
This is your KYRS live and local calendar for July 15th through the 18th. Monday, open mic with Sidney Dixon and Ben 10 at the Red Room, Daikaiju at the Big Dipper, and open mic at Live Entertainment. Monday and Tuesday, open jam at Jackson Street. Tuesday, Extortionist at the Big Dipper, The Great Comet at Zola, and the Angela Marie Project, Betsy Rogue, and Carrie Marguerite and the 76 at Rocket Market. Wednesday, Rock the Nest with Dave McRae, the Brandon Jackson Band, Gil Rivas, and Ron Green at the Kendall Yards Night Market, Pony Bradshaw and Grayson Jenkins at the District, Shady Angels at the Big Dipper, Tristan Hart Pierce, Scott Ryan Ingersoll, and Brittany's House at the Chameleon, Corrupt Vision and Proletarier at Pacific Avenue Pizza, open mic with Derek Hart at the Checkerboard, and open jam at the Red Room. Thursday, the Hankers at the Spokane Tribe Casino, the Blues Kangaroos at the Junkyard, and Elemental P, Keze, and others at the Big Dipper. For an entire hour of local musicians, tune into Sounds of Spokane every Sunday night at 8 on KYRS.
And we are back on the air now with Keze, our local hip-hop artist.
Hey.
And I got you back on here. You're live.
I'm live.
He's
Hooray.
live. He's alive. He's alive,
Let
ladies
me
and gentlemen.
say some quick profanities real quick, just for you.
Let's not do that.
Okay.
I want to keep this show for a while.
I'd hope so. You're a great host, man. You're a great host.
Thanks, man. I'm having a blast. And I'm also having a blast with all you listeners out there. I'm loving the calls. We've done quite a few, just a few shows so far, but I feel like, really loving the feedback and the calls that we're getting from all you guys out there.
Yeah.
So, going back to Yi, we're going to, if you want to call in, and anyone wants to call in right now, at any point in time while we're talking, feel free. We're having a great conversation right now about hip hop and some like your, influences and whatnot.
Influence.
But we love a good thrift story, and we've got our own as well, but we're going to save that for the back half.
Yes, of course.
But going back to what you were saying, like sort of the Kanye sort of influences, I saw but an old reel, right? Like of an interview of MF Doom, which is one of my favorite guys ever, right?
Yes.
Like, MCs
yeah.
ever.
Mm-hmm.
And I just loved like everything about it, man. The swagger of that guy, his lyrical content, it was just so all over the place, so creative, right? And I saw that he was on this like show. I don't know what show it was. It was like maybe like a New York local kind of cable TV show. But they asked him on the spot, who would you want to potentially work with? And this is a long time ago. This is before a lot of the chaos that has become Yi, right?
Yes.
But he said Kanye West, he wanted to have him produce maybe a track for him. And I thought that was really interesting.
I think.
And if he could only be here now.
I know. I was so sad when I heard about his passing. That was like one of the first records I ever bought was Food by him. And such a great album.
Rip MF Doom.
R.I.P., bro. All caps when you spell the man's name.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no. But, that would honestly be astounding, And
could you imagine that? Like, let's say you like during graduation, like type like producing, like mixed with some MF Doom. I probably would have been into that.
I think, yeah.
It would have been probably something good.
I think there definitely would have been some great production on late registration from MF Doom. If, that ever got conceptualized, I think that would have been amazing. Also, I don't want to rain on your parade or nothing, just in case people get mad. It's yay.
Oh yeah.
It's not Yee.
I just think of Yeezys. I just think about that giant factory of Yeezys that are just all wholesale now, and nobody's buying them or wanting to wear them other than the people that he probably didn't intend for to wear them. Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah.
I won't get too political on this show tonight. We've got a political show coming up, which I won't unveil until maybe next week. But
y'all better stay tuned for that.
Tuned, yeah, July 22nd. It's going to be a good one.
Yeah.
But going back to influences, not just music. So like, what kind of things influence you? You say like a lot of things influence you. So like on a daily basis, like, you just have like a random encounter with something or someone, and that'll kind of really give you ideas,
Yeah. I think I kind of just look at everything as a canvas, essentially. I do a lot of things. Well, at least I try to. It's so busy nowadays, but I try to do things for myself. Throw on a show, throw on a movie, throw on an album, throw on whatever, go on a walk.
What's the last movie you watched?
Good question.
I'll share mine next.
Okay, that's a good.
And what medium? What's the last VHS? Look, I don't know if anybody knows this. But we are both VHS collectors.
We are on the same mind.
Again, another topic for another night.
Yes.
But I did just watch a VHS. What's the last VHS you watched?
That's a great question. I haven't really been watching VHSs lately.
I'm disappointed.
I know.
You got to get back to it. You know what? There's always time. There's always time to improve.
It's true. I think honestly, the last VHS movie. Sorry, I don't mind if I growl real quick. I think the last VHS movie I saw was I broke in this prison CRT that I found on the side of the road.
What?
Yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Sweet.
I played Jacob's Ladder.
Oh man, that's nightmare fuel.
That is what. Yeah, that's what I played. Because
that movie terrified me as a kid, man. Just the practical effects alone.
Oh yeah,
when he's like faceless.
I think one of my favorite practical effects in that movie. I don't know if it's practical, but I don't really know movie terminology. But
practical's like more like nothing digital, right? It was all analog effects, and
right?
So making the fake arm, chopping it off, making the fake head.
What I'm thinking of
squid packs and blood. And
what I'm thinking of is in when they're kind of in the hospital a little bit. Spoilers. It's 25 years old. You're fine.
If you haven't seen it, you definitely have to watch it.
Give it a watch. It's great.
Tim Robbins, right? It's Tim Robbins.
I think so. Yeah. I think so. Not too. Yeah, I think so. It's when they're like their heads are like shaking.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like that fast motion. And it's actually what inspired the team when making Silent Hill. To make
those
some of those,
type
they watched. I think from what I remember, they watched Jacob's Ladder and took inspiration from that. And Silent Hill is another big thing.
Oh yeah,
for
I
me.
see that. I could see that though. Like I can see that as something. I don't know where the pyramid head guy came out of that, but I could tell you the head shaking stuff. I could see that now.
I think that was just their freaky little contraption that they made up politely.
Yeah, I always got like Jacob's Ladder and Flatliners kind of mixed up because those are two movies that kind of had this weird supernatural vibe, right?
That's true.
And they're both about like sort of these near death or after death experiences. But there's that little kid in Flatliners. I don't know why I get them blurred together. I think there's something that has to do with the kid in Jacob's Ladder.
I think you're right.
But there's that little kid in the red hoodie who's terrorizing Kiefer Sutherland in Flatliners.
Yes.
And like, dude, that to this day, I can't see a kid in a red like sweatshirt,
it's like scary,
without getting anxiety.
Like whoa, oh my goodness!
It's little Bobby, whatever his name was. Off Flatliners, who you terrorize, man.
Exactly,
it's really terrifying. My last movie that I watched on VHS was shout out and rip Shannon Doherty. I watched Mallrats.
Yeah,
which I do have the pilot of Beverly Hills 90210 in the queue right now on VHS. It was the promo tape, and you're
just bragging now.
There's just I know there's just so much. I was trying to rewatch like some Charmed, man, and stuff like that. But yeah, dude, like the last VHS, I literally watched it right before this program.
Heck yeah,
and I just had to because I just love Mallrats. It's just I grew up in the '90s again where it was like mall culture type stuff.
Yeah,
and it just that movie really hits a special place in my heart. Right, that corn shirt came from the mall.
Yeah, and definitely R.I.P. That's. Rip. I was so sad when I saw that. I was just like, gosh.
It's kind of
really
like the curse of
unfortunate.
Beverly Hills 90210 though, because like Luke Perry died at 52, and he died of like two strokes in a row.
Yeah, I think it was 2 strokes in a row.
And then she just died of cancer at 53.
That's insane.
Everybody's getting kind of off.
They're dying
in their early 50s.
They're
and I'm
dying.
like, what is this? The curse of
must be.
yeah, dude.
Must have been,
Beverly Hills
something in the
90210.
air, I guess.
Aaron Spelling, man.
Yeah.
I think something's going on there. But anyway, that's just my conspiracy theory when it comes to Beverly Hills 90210.
Exactly.
Well, cool. All right. Well, going back, man. So inspirations and stuff. So how many shows, what was your first show like, right? How many shows have you done? And what was your first show like for you?
It was awesome. If you've known me for a really long time, you probably know this, but I did a bunch of theater in high school.
Right on.
And
gotta have those theatrics.
Yeah. And
You're a performer.
I think being on stage is just such a natural thing for me. I enjoy it. I love getting the audience to react and, kind of interact with what's going on stage. I really love, and it's kind of weird to say, but, I think there's definitely a little bit of theatrics to it, being on stage and playing music and,
of course,
projecting that energy to people in the crowd. And I think the first time that I did anything, related to my music was, I think in like 2021, it was like October. It was at the Montvale downtown.
Right on.
And I only played 3 songs, but it still felt amazing to just like, have people hear my voice, have people hear my beats, have people hear the whole 9 yards.
Have your time.
Exactly.
It's sacred.
It's very sacred. Time is very sacred these days.
It is.
And
especially when people are quiet, when you're trying to
express
express yourself.
Exactly. And I think it's just really important to give people their time,
Definitely.
Yeah.
How many times have you been to a show where there's that guy that won't stop talking to his friend or something next to him, and it's like, the whole show, the whole show, and usually there's alcohol involved.
Yeah.
But,
yeah. No, there's actually a time like that. Danny Brown came to Spokane in November of last year, I want to say, and or was it? Whatever. I don't know dates. My brain's like destroyed. He just wouldn't stop talking. He had a beer in his hand the whole time. He just
kept
like,
going.
"Oh, dude, this is great. I love Danny Brown. I love him so much. He's so awesome." And
you're like, yeah, that's why we're here, man.
I'm just
we're here.
Yeah, he's right there.
We're here to hear him.
Yes, exactly. It's like, okay, yeah, I get it, dude. You're chill. You're fine. But yeah, no, some people like that really just get under my skin.
Oh, yeah.
My skin.
So the Montvale.
Yes.
That was your first show.
Mm-hmm.
3 songs off the first album.
So it was off the first album. There was 1 song off the first album. And then there was 1 song that was just a single that I just released. And then there was an unreleased song off of my album that I released the next year in 2022 called Lemon to Limbo. The song I performed was Sirens. It used to be my most popular song until I released the song that I was about to preview, Tales.
Which you can find on
Apple Music, Spotify, all sorts of things that you can stream music on.
There
Hooray. Maybe physical's coming this year soon. If
you could do physical media, what are you going to do? I think I know the answer.
Mini disc.
Just straight, just the miniest little CD ever.
I would love to make custom mini discs. I think that would be so dope. No, I think honestly, I would love to do records.
Oh man, that'd be rad. Nothing like the sound of vinyl.
Exactly. I'm a big vinyl head, if any of you guys know me. I think honestly, though, we've seen a little bit of a resurgence in cassettes.
Oh man, I have a huge cassette collection, man. When I would go, because you know how everybody was really diving deep into records at one point in time, I was like, everybody just kept leaving cassettes behind, and I was like, pfft.
Cassettes and CDs.
Yeah, and the CDs now are also, now the CDs are now, it went, the evolution was records at the thrift store, cassettes,
Yep.
now CDs, and now there's like CD collections I've seen like on eBay and stuff for like $1,000, man.
Dude, yeah.
It's insane.
I've been collecting CDs since I was like 7 or 8.
I got like 4 or 5 totes in the garage right now full of them, man.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I can think about this Judas Priest box set right now that's like studded.
Oh,
It's
that's kind of crazy, actually.
It's pretty sick. And guess where I found that?
I wonder where.
At a thrift store.
Yeah.
An undisclosed thrift store.
Yeah. We're not giving locations. You can't steal our swag, unfortunately.
So cool. So you played at the Montville. You
Yep.
got those 3 songs. And
Yep.
then how many shows have you done total now?
Oh, that's a hard one. I would say probably at this point, maybe like 8 or 10.
I've
I
saw
wanna
that
say.
you've done a lot of like outdoor shows, right? A lot of like festival type stuff.
Yeah. I did Better Days Festival, which is this festival in Fort Washington. Shout out Savannah. Thank
Cool.
you for having me out there again this year. And then I did this one back in 2022 called Empire Alt Fest, which is actually the sponsor for this
I was going
upcoming.
to say that. That sounded familiar.
Yeah, it's at the a sponsor for this upcoming show at the Big Dipper we got going on Thursday. And yeah, I think honestly I prefer indoor shows, especially when it's like weather like this, because I used to be a little bit on the skinnier side, but now as of age does, I've kind of gained some weight, so I don't want to be like dripping sweat while I'm
Those
like.
are some of the best shows, though, right?
Well, not when the person can't rap. Okay, I'm up there and I'm just like, yeah, everybody put your hands. Everybody put your hands up. I'm like about to have a heart attack.
To be fair, I mean, it's been like 100 degrees for like 2 weeks straight.
Yeah, it's been pretty unfortunate.
I can only imagine playing an outdoor show. I mean, usually they're shaded still, but like, just that like hair dryer heat in your face, man. And like,
Yeah.
you got, people don't realize, I've also played music, right? And like, you have to, it takes a lot of physicalness, right? To like
Yeah.
be able to like be an artist, be a musician. People don't realize it's not just talking into a microphone. Right?
No, you have kind of back to the theater thing. You have to put on a show. You have to basically, I don't want to say prove your weight onto that stage, but kinda. You know what I mean?
And newsflash to everybody out there: to breathe and to be loud into a microphone actually takes some effort.
Yeah, if
Right?
you got bad lungs, spaghetti-o. But yeah, no, yeah, it's
So you're
just
feeling the indoor shows.
I'm feeling the indoor shows. That's why I'm glad we're doing the Big Dipper, because I could not do an outdoor show right now. I would be like disgusting, like wet, like everywhere. It's awful. It's awful.
He's got to put a slip and slide up there.
Exactly.
Make the best of it.
And then I'm gonna go shoot straight into the sky.
They need those misters going, man. On
Oh.
but then misting at the same time with electrical equipment, probably like not a good like combination. I don't know.
There was a little bit of a mister. I just recently did a show 2 weekends ago at Cruisers on State Line, and they had a mister, and I was like in heaven the whole time. I was like, yes,
No electrocution occurred.
thank you, much appreciated.
Yeah, just a little bit of mist goes
At
a long
least
way.
a little bit,
Hey, we got to take one more break, and then when we come back from the break, I want to get some calls in, and we're going to switch gears, and we're going to go into some thrift stuff, right?
Get those callers in. Let's do it.
Because I know that some of the stuff that you've lived through in the thrifting life
Don't
that
get
you
me
lived
started, bro.
probably influenced some of this
Don't
music.
even get me
right?
started, bro.
All right, so we will be right back.
Peace out.
And we are back.
Back.
So, picking back up. So I just want to say the number real quick before we get started. If you want to call in with another thrift story, because I've had some seriously horrific experiences working in those things, man. I want you to call, and I know you have too. So let's not hold back. And I'm gonna let Keze share one first. But if you're a listener right now and you would like to call in, and it doesn't have to be a horror story. I mean, if there's something really cool that you found, something that just like a treasure that you found, I'd love to hear the random stuff that people have found. But that number is 509-747-3807. Again, if you want to call in with a story, it could be good, bad, or ugly, right? Call into People Talk, 509-747-3807.
Ring. Hello.
All right, KZ, until we get a call, would you like to start off with a story? And is it good, bad, or ugly?
I'm gonna start with ugly because
It's my favorite.
I got way too many ugly stories.
Ugly's my favorite.
So I don't know if I should say the name of the place, but
We'll just you want to just do an acronym or something?
we'll do V.
Yeah, let's go the flying V.
Yeah, the V. Not V for Vendetta though. But yeah, no. I was working at this place. We'll call it the V.
V for minimum wage.
Exactly. Barely minimum wage, essentially.
That's not funny. I'm sorry.
Yeah, honestly, kind of offended. I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I was working at this place, and it was kind of smack dab middle of downtown Spokane. You know, it was kind of where all of the action was happening, quote unquote. And basically, I don't know how to describe this, but we had a lot of very interesting people come in at all times. And
you're very close to downtown.
Very close, yes. And essentially, my job at this mysterious location was I took in all of the donations. So basically, I was the person that got to see all of the donations first.
What did they call you there? Because they called me something at a different store that starts with a G.
They called
and that's
me.
not for G money.
I'll say CDC. You know, yeah, the Community Donation Center. You know,
okay. I was the. Oh God, go for it. Finish your story. I just had it on the tip of my tongue and then I forgot. I'm like, that's how
you'll remember.
Donor specialist. I think that's what it was called.
We're chill. But yeah, so we had a lot of very interesting people pop in at all times, and you know, when I say interesting, there's a lot of things that you can think of. Just imagine an interesting person. You know, you can do it.
There's plenty of them out there. There's 2 of them on the radio right now.
Exactly. Basically, this person had donated a full bag, and as my job as the quote unquote CDC person, I was basically told to inspect the bag and make sure that everything was ready to go out onto the floor and to be priced and be sold. And I opened the bag, and many very interesting items were in that bag. ... So interesting that we had to, in fact, call the police and let them know, hey,
oh my gosh,
there are some very interesting things that people like to indulge in this bag.
Oh my gosh.
And
this got dark really fast. Was it a human head?
No. It was human toes. I'm just kidding. No.
Oh, it was very David Lynch.
Yeah. Fire walk with me type vibes.
Yeah.
No, it was just a bunch of like, am I allowed to say that word? Drugs?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It was
That's
drugs.
Not a bad word.
It was drugs.
Lots of drugs.
Lots of hard,
just randomly
drugs.
Dropped off like a giant trash bag of drugs.
Yeah. You'd think, they'd actually want to.
Do you think that they were were they under the influence?
Definitely. Because a lot of the time what people did was they came in and they quickly donated something so they could get a coupon. We had a coupon that we'd give people when they donated something.
Just take my giant bag of drugs. I really need that 20% off coupon.
Yeah.
For that denim jacket that has cowboy print on it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Shout out Scrapper. Yeah. But yeah, no. It was just like kind of a shock to see all this stuff in front of me. I was just like, whoa, that's something I don't even want to touch. Ever. So yeah, we had to call the police and they had to be like, yep, this is that, and then they took it. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's one of my many stories at this mysterious location.
I mean, the altruism of that, they're like, just take all my drugs.
Yeah.
I'm a giver.
Yeah, he's a giver, He probably wanted us to, indulge in that and be like, yeah.
That's pretty wild, and it was a substantial amount.
I would say, how your bag feels like a backpack full of like school books feels. That's how it was.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy. That's what I thought, because he handed me the bag and I was just like, oh, it's probably just like a bunch of books. It was like really heavy, and then I open it and it's just like a needle like pointing straight at me.
Holy moly.
Yeah. Crazy stuff, man.
That is wild. So that's one of the uglies.
One of the uglies.
And then the cops had to come.
Yeah, they had to come question me, and I had to be like, I didn't do nothing.
This is not mine.
This is not mine. I swear. I swear on the
Review the footage. Review the footage. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that's my story.
You want to know what I got a one-liner that I always remembered from every guy that dropped off garbage. Right?
Oh.
And I remember because we'd have to ask, right? And I know you know this probably too, but it was every, and I'm not gonna call them names right now.
Right.
For sure. Boomer kind of person. And every time they drop something like a broken lawnmower or a broken chainsaw or a
gosh.
stereo or something or TV, I'd be like,
That's rough.
And they didn't even have to lie. We'd still recycle it. But I'd say, hey, does this work? Worked the last time I used it. The total dad joke like response. And I swear to God, like that was like every 1 out of 3 people would use that line. I'd be like, "Are you kidding me right now? It's
rough.
broken, right?
It's
like
rough.
just save me the time from bringing it in and plugging it in or whatever. Just tell me if I need to throw it away or recycle it."
Dude, people would jump like straight up garbage. Okay, they would just dump it. We had a big thing with no mattresses. Okay,
Just straight garbage.
straight I'm not even joshing you. Okay, it was just straight garbage. And there's this thing, we didn't accept mattresses, we didn't accept beddings, stuff like that, especially when it's stained. And I remember one time it was like a hot day and there was just a bunch of line of cars, waiting to donate their stuff. And a car sneaks to the back of the store. I see them and they just dump like 3 mattresses and then skirt off. Knowing I'm about to run after them and be like, hey, what the heck?
Oh my gosh. I actually saw that one time, and it was in a different city. I think it was on the coast, and I was just leaving the thrift store, and I saw somebody just like dump a mattress out the back of the. They did not ring the bell or try to talk to the person. They dumped it off, and then the guy that was the donor services guy just immediately started booking it after the car and yelling, "You can't do that!"
We get mad when I was at that job. Someone would dump garbage. I'd go
You're the garbage man.
I'd go full mad.
Yeah, well, because that's not your job. You're not a garbage man. You are there to sort out things
Yeah.
to sell in a store.
It's like mad disrespectful too.
Yeah, it's just unpleasant and rude, right?
Yes,
Like there's
yes.
something called the dump, right?
They just
it's
don't
where
wanna
you take
pay.
No.
Yeah.
Cheapskates, man. Cheapskates.
Whatever,
It's
man.
Insult to industry, right? Insult
Yeah.
to injury, sorry, not the industry.
Insult to industry.
It's the insult to
That's a
industry,
good
man.
podcast,
I mean,
man.
that's pretty cool. It's like a cool one-liner.
Yeah.
But no, I'm thinking, what's the worst thing? I feel like, the worst thing.
Yes.
We were short-staffed, as they are.
As many
Most
are.
people
Yes.
had called in.
Yes.
I was one person that was running the donor door. And all of a sudden, this person just like starts unloading like a upright piano. Oh, no. Like not a grand piano, but like like a saloon, like the cowboy ones that are like
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, she starts loading it off the ramp. It's too late. It just starts going, and I'm like, I was about to say like, oh, we can't take that, but then
it's too far gone.
She jumps away as she's supposed to be like helping me. She was holding on to part of it, jumps out of the way, and the thing literally starts to topple onto me. And I'm like 2 seconds away from like either death or a workplace serious workplace injury. Like,
that's nuts.
Thousand ways to die type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? And I just remember like getting all of a sudden like just getting like this like burst of like endorphin or adrenaline and turning into like a human ant. And I just like all of my might, like a human ant, pushing it back up before it crushed me, and I was stuck under that thing.
Wow.
That was like I was like, never again.
Never again.
Never again.
Absolutely.
And, I'm like definitely not gonna fall for that again.
Absolutely not.
That was probably one of the worst. One of the coolest things I ever found when I was thrifting or at yard sales and stuff. I found a really cool like medallion from like 1918.
Oh,
And
what kind of medallion?
This German artist, it's bronze. A German artist called Ludwig Geis, and
That name sounds kind of familiar. Is he
he's
like
kind
popular?
Of obscure,
Okay.
but he did like these medallions for these like board members
Whoa.
of a huge pharmaceutical like conglomerate, right? And they were a German pharmaceutical company that bought out the oldest pharmacy or pharmacy chain in like Europe, right, or in Germany.
Yeah.
It's called Engel Apotheke.
Okay.
Well, I somehow got a hold of one of those medallions out of the 8 board members that got one.
Oh my gosh.
And when I Googled it and everything, like later on in life, like because this was like 15 years ago, maybe
Right.
going on 20
Yeah.
or something. I found out that there was only 5 in existence, and most of them were in Germany.
Oh,
And
dude.
I had one.
That is
And
gnarly.
I've still got it to this day. And I wish I could. I'll explain it to the listeners, and then we'll move on. But it's a 2-sided medallion. On one side, there's a guy sitting in like a little old timey like little study,
Okay.
and he's got his feet kicked up, and he's got his black cat arching its back right near his feet.
That's pretty cool.
Got like a scorpion dangling from its tail on a hook above a cauldron as he's bubbling up like medicine.
Whoa.
It's pretty wild.
That sounds pretty wild.
Flip the coin, and it's an industrial smokestack, like Industrial Revolution type picture.
What?
Of an angel, like the what I would say is like this haunting image of like a eyeless angel.
Whoa.
Holding this bushel of like flowers.
And
it's all supposed to be like, the industry of man.
Wow.
And how medicine has come about from that industry.
That is insane.
Pretty cool, man.
That is insane.
I'll have to find a place where I can post it if listeners want to see it.
Yeah.
Probably like on the People Talk page or something.
Yeah, no, that's incredible.
But
that sounds awesome.
It's the coolest thing I ever found.
Mm-hmm.
That and like 5 pairs of bell bottoms from the 60s that were like legit Big E, like the orange tag friggin' Levi's.
Yeah, but those are gnarly.
But those are like worth a lot of money now. And back in the day, I was road tripping and just wanted some gas money.
Exactly.
So I sold them all for like $250.
No thanks.
And that was the worst mistake of my life. So in the thrifting, at least.
Yeah, I'll tell you about my greatest find. I have lots of bad stories, but I have a handful.
Yeah, let's do a good one.
So it was this. It wasn't really a thrift store, but yard sale, same thing.
Yeah, basically estate sales, blah blah blah.
Yeah, so
it's where it all ends up. All of that stuff when it doesn't sell ends up at the thrift store.
Pretty much, yeah. So there was this lady, and I'm from this town, Davenport. It's like about an hour away from here.
Cozy little town.
Go on your way to Lake Roosevelt. There's a town right next to it called Reardon, and they have a Reardon annual yard sale. So basically, everybody in the town, if you want to sell something, they have yard sales, and they'll give you like a map, and you can just walk around the whole city the whole day. And
get a map.
Yeah, and it was 2018, and I was with my dad, RIP, and we were at this lady's yard sale, and this was 2018, so I was really into like windbreakers and stuff. I was really into like, the 80s style clothing, and I was really looking for like authentic 80s windbreakers. And I was at this lady's house, and I found this windbreaker. It was like kind of a dark green, dark blue, and I was like, oh, that's really cool looking. And then I saw that there was a logo. Now, okay, I don't know how to describe this to you, but it was a logo, and it was a little like white thing with glasses on it, and it said Joe S. Imagine like SP, like I don't know how to say this to you on air.
Was it something vulgar? Was it something like
it's something when a man and a woman love each other very much? SP.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. That.
I think we can make I think the listeners probably can make the
Yeah, we can make the connection for sure.
This is somebody's windbreaker in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, and it was a little cartoon drawing of that, and it had a mouth and sunglasses on it.
That sounds insanely awesome.
Of course, as an 18-year-old, I'm like, I want that. Yeah, exactly.
How much was it?
It was like $1.
What?
But here's the thing, and I found this out to be very interesting because it was a whole rabbit hole I went on.
We got one more caller.
Oh,
we
hey,
got 5 minutes left, so I'm gonna pass you in.
Yeah, run them through.
Ready to go?
Run them through.
Hello, caller. You've reached People Talk. Sure. Let me put you on air right now. We got a question. Got a question for you, Keze. You there, listener?
Yeah, what's up?
Right on. You're on the air.
Hey.
Hey, I was just wondering what you guys think is the best way to support local artists, like musicians or anything, because I've gone to the Big Dipper a few times and get absolutely blown away by, like, the local talent.
Yeah.
Without, like, any knowledge of where they are or where they're playing at. And I was just wondering how you guys support the local scene.
Well, this will be our final thought, and I'm going to let you go with it, Keze.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, in my kind of looking at it in my perspective, I've never really been much of a do it for money kind of guy. I've always been just kind of like, okay, I'm going to go to this show and I'm going to do it. Sometimes they'll forget to pay me. I don't get mad about it. If you want to directly support that person, honestly, if they are local enough, they would probably be 100% okay with you just like coming up to them after the show and being like, hey, you know, do you got an Instagram? Do you got a place where you can buy merch? Do you got a Facebook? You know, do you got any sort of social media? You know, and try to strike up a conversation with them, you know, try to get to understand where they are and, you know, where their head was at when they made that specific piece of art, you know, and I think that's a pretty good way of supporting local people. It's just honestly talking to them, because at the end of the day, we're local, you know.
Yeah.
And we're not some like crazy superstar with 10 million awful followers. We're just some guy probably making music in our bedroom or basement or whatever.
But one kind word, right? Can
Exactly.
really inspire you to keep going.
Exactly.
Right? And
yes.
it's not even just about the money sometimes. But shifting gears, if you do travel for shows and stuff like that,
Yes.
buy merch.
Definitely.
You know, buy, you know, support and buy their, you know, vinyl, whatever it might be. You know,
Tours.
Supporter of streaming and whatnot.
Tours are the main thing that artists make money off of because of how much merch they sell and stuff like that. And yeah, so that's my answer for that kind of stuff.
Right on. Did you have anything else that you wanted to ask, listener?
No, that's awesome. Right
Awesome. Cool, man. Thanks for calling in.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, later.
Later. Well, we've got to wrap it up. So, any final words before we close it out?
I'll tell you that Windbreaker, it was a failed marketing campaign for Planned Parenthood.
What?
Yes.
Oh, you still
And
got
there's
it?
only one article about it on the whole internet.
Do you still have it?
It's somewhere.
God, you still have it?
Yes.
It's hiding somewhere stowed away.
Yes.
And it was a Planned Parent. That's awesome.
They had like a mascot and everything. It was.
What?
I think it was only
Wait,
for 1
Was
year.
it like the 80s or like the 90s?
Early 2000s.
What?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I got it. You're going to have to show me a picture.
Yeah,
of this
I'll
thing.
show you a
If
picture.
you've got a picture, you can bring it up. I got to
Yeah.
see this thing after this show.
Heck yeah.
Well, I want to say first and foremost, thank you to Keze for
Yes.
coming out, right?
Thank you,
Again,
man.
Where can we find your music?
So you can find my music anywhere that you stream music, you know, iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube.
How do you spell it?
Keze.
Perfect.
Keze.
And so you can go to all the different streaming platforms. You can see them Thursday.
At the Big Dipper.
Yeah.
I'm second to last, so if you want to come see me right away, I'd say wait.
Second to last. That's a good spot.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That is a good spot. Well, I want to say thank you again to everyone that was listening tonight.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave you with a little gift here. The gift of music.
It's always a good gift, man.
See you guys next week.
Peace.